What's the worst thing you've ever been accused of while being completely innocent? Drugs. Shockingly enough, my parents' divorce made me act out at 9 years old, and I kept distracting other kids in class. My mom was convinced it was because I was doing drugs and yanked hair out of my head and made me get blood tested. They found nothing. Because I was 9 years old. You mean you weren't doing cocaine at 9? Did you even have a childhood? I helped a friend of my mother move when I had just turned 18 for no pay. And this lady accused me of stealing one of her guns. I booked it straight to the police department to explain the situation. When she tried to report me, they told her she was crazy. They already spoke to me. And that criminals that steal guns don't go directly to the police. I was accused of destroying a window at school by dropping a rock from a higher floor. Interrogated by the principal, parents were called. Friends had to fund the repairs. Bullied on the bus. It f***ing sucked. Found out who it was 2 years later. But by then nobody cared. This is tame compared to others in this thread, but it's one that has stuck with me for ages. When I was really little, around 6, my aunt was babysitting me. My sweet dog was shedding fur. My aunt accused me of cutting her fur. She had me across her knee saying she wouldn't spank me if I admitted it. I was sobbing uncontrollably because I loved my dog. We were the same age and she was like a second mom and would never do that to her. My mom came home not long after and I do remember her being livid. Despite my issues with my mom, she never once laid a hand on me. My mom couldn't believe that her sister never comprehended that animal sheds fur in clumps. In 3rd grade, one walked to a convenience store with $2 and spent 20 minutes trying to decide what candy to get, picking things up and putting them back. The old lady clerk accused me of stealing and said to never come back. That was a bit problematic given it was the only gas station in my small town. And I've moved back and been living here for the last 15 years. I know this is ridiculous. But in 2nd grade another child accused me of calling my teacher a bitch. No one believed me when I claimed innocence. And I got a spanking and was forced to apologize. I felt so powerless because since all the adults believed I was guilty. In effect I was. I think I'm still a little mad about it. I was 14 and had just started to learn how to use a digital camera. The only one I had at the time was my mom's. Sometime after my birthday, the SD card that was my mom's went missing. My dad immediately went to blame me for it and my mom was hoping I didn't do it. After over an hour of interrogating me, we still couldn't find it. Come to find out my mom had put it in her normal place of valuables she keeps it in. I didn't even get a f***ing apology. Drugs. When I was in high school I had a very monotonous voice that my parents thought was fake, and anytime we were out they would ask someone to tell me what I sound like because they thought that if I was embarrassed enough I would talk normally. Instead it made me talk less and me shut out some of my friends in my life. When they realized I wasn't talking they jumped to conclusions and accused me of doing drugs. What really made them think I was doing drugs was when I lost $20 at my school's picnic. They were constantly counting my money to see if they can prove I was doing drugs and realized that I was missing $40 and told me to tell them what happened to it. I explained to them that I had a picnic at school and brought $40 with me but lost half of it. They said my story didn't add up, so they started to rummage through my backpack and room anytime I wasn't at home and would ask for the names of my friends and anyone that I was talking to so that they could run background checks on them. Parents, make fun of you for doing _____ kid, stops doing ______ parents, why don't you do _____ anymore? Probably because you're doing drugs. Single quote. Posted this before, but seems relevant. I was fighting with my brother. Realized the fight was dumb, so I just went to my room. My brother decided to punch himself and blame me. My mom is yelling at me and grounding me. I can't believe you did that to your brother. Blah blah blah, so I figured if I was about to get in trouble for it I should actually do it. I turned around and actually clocked my brother in the face, to which he responded, "I can't believe she actually did that," and my mom realized he had been lying. I ended up not getting in trouble. So many people with siblings are living vicariously through you right now. My sister put soap on her toothbrush then blamed me and my brother once. I was actually kind of impressed at the time. Probably kicking my young son. I was carrying something like hot tea or soup and he went to grab me. so I put my knee out to stop him getting close to me and scalding himself. But for some reason, everyone else in the room thought I kicked him or kneed him. Very strange situation. When I was 16, I was riding with a friend back to another friend's house and the cops pulled him over. I had nothing on me. He, unbeknownst to me, threw a bag of coke underneath my chair. Cops found it, put us both in jail. Took him to county, 17 yo. Took me to juvie, 16 yo. He got out before me and hired a lawyer. Pinned it on me through family connections. Got the charges reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor cause I was a good kid and it showed. Ruined my life for a good 5 years. Just heard that the kid all grown up broke into his ex-GF's house to steal drugs and is pretty much a burnout loser. I'm applying for law school next spring. I was 9 and a Girl Scout. I was attending a Girl Scout camp and the leader accused me of throwing trash around the campsite. She made me sit in a chair in the corner of a building. I remember crying over the whole situation. For the record, I didn't throw trash around the campsite. The leader was a mean woman. Did anyone actually have a good time in Girl Scouts? A friend who became a friend with benefits called me a lying a hole the first time we had sex. Followed immediately by, "You told me you had a vasectomy." She didn't realize that a vasectomy just takes the seeds out of the orange juice. It doesn't eliminate the orange juice. Purposefully pushing my friend's little sister off the bed and breaking her arm. We were both jumping and she fell. But her older sister and her mom refused to believe that I didn't push her. I was approximately 7 or 8 and the little sister was 3 or 4. It still messes with me that they instantly thought I would do something like that. Causing severe enough trouble on the bus that it warranted a mid-class trip to see the vice principal. A girl showed up at my study block junior year of high school asking for someone with a name similar to mine. But not my actual name. The teacher sent her away. But she came back a few minutes later insisting this was the right room. The teacher then looked at me and decided close enough and sent me off. Even in hindsight, I'd say I was a good kid. I never did anything that would get me in trouble. That walk was the longest walk I've ever had in my life. And by the time I got to the office I was in tears. He sat me down, patiently got me to stammer my name out and what bus I rode. Then told me I was definitely not the right person. My teacher looked downright crushed when I came back to class. The vice principal and I were best friends after that. Though. Wife and I were asleep in bed. And when we woke up, she rolled over to get out of bed. She hit her eye on the corner of her nightstand and it left a sick, nasty, bruised, cut black eye for about a week. I had friends asking me if I hit her. And one friend gave me the business saying it's not cool to hit your wife. That friend actually beats his wife. In 4th grade someone kept stealing mouse balls from the computer lab. I remember our teacher warning us about it. One day my teacher pulled me aside and told me that someone had accused me of being the mouse ball thief. It was a guy the first was friendly with but not friends with. Kind of an outcast. I assured him this was totally false and I think he believed me. I was a mostly good kid. The next day at school I look inside my pencil box and what do I find but a mouse ball sitting inside. I'm freaking out. I go up to the teacher probably talking a million miles an hour about how I didn't steal the mouse ball. Didn't know why it was in my pencil box etc. He looks at me doubtfully and says he'll have to get with the principal and figure out what to do with me. The whole evening I'm still freaking out. My mom has the idea of looking my accuser up in the phone book. I looked that jerk up and confronted him and his father about what was happening. He denied doing anything on the phone. The next day the kid admitted to the teacher first thing. He had planted the ball as a practical joke. Saw the guy years later and he was trying to be friendly. I found myself still pissed off about this incident. I was like 6 or 7 and my family took us to this big house party hosted at our pastor's house. While there, I found the other kids and we started playing. Well, there were some bars there along some stairs, like part of the handle going up. And this girl decided she wanted to play jail and starting pulling on the bars pretending she was in jail. And she broke the bars. So for the rest of the party she went around telling everyone, look what Born_Slippy did. Well, that got around to the owner of the house and they weren't happy because they had just renovated it. My parents then had to offer to pay for repairs. All because I was too afraid to tell them it wasn't my fault. It wasn't the worst, but it definitely hurt. My sister once accused me of stealing her laptop that she had gotten for her birthday. My dad got all pissed and said that I probably stole it so I could sell it or some dumb st. He kept telling me to give it back and I kept saying that I didn't have it. Well, a while later the little bee comes out of her room holding the laptop. It turns out that it was under her bed the whole time. My mom used to accuse me of having so much potential. Used to. Ouch. There was a creative writing class at my high school for seniors. You have to write a creative piece to apply to the class. I wrote a piece and got into the class. The class was in my second semester, spring. At the end of the fall semester, my mom takes me out of the class. Why? She accused me of plagiarizing my paper because she thought I didn't write it. She said that it wasn't like papers that I wrote before. I did write it though. She didn't even have proof. When I was 10 or 11, my best friend lost his Game Boy and his mom accused me of stealing it.